Hi guys, and welcome back to a new video. In today's video, I will go through 9 of the best gold farms that you can currently do in order to make tons of gold before the release of the War Within. So these different gold farms will take place in different type of expansions, and each time we will be farming some transmog items, mounts, and other type of cool items that you can then sell on the auction house. So I'm gonna go one by one, but it doesn't mean that these different gold farms are better than the others, simply because. So I'm gonna go one by one, but keep in mind all these different gold farms are very different and they will be better or worse depending on which realm you're playing on, and also depending on what type of items you like to farm and to sell on the auction house. So don't really consider too much the order. It's really just for me to go through each of them one by one. So first on our list, we will have two raid farms that I've already covered plenty of times in all my videos, and these farms are still really good right now. So these two farms are taking place in the Tomb of Sargeras and also the Antorus raid from Legion, and each time we're farming some of the different BOEs from the trash mobs. So here the reason why these different BOEs are so interesting is simply because the different appearances are really nice for most of them, and also they are unique, which means that, for instance, if you are playing on a Death Knight right now and you want to complete your entire set, you will need to get the appearance from the BOE item. And so for this reason, a lot of people are buying these different BOEs from the auction house simply because they don't want to farm them themselves. Also, another really good thing about this farm is the fact that these different appearances will be different depending on the version of the raid you're doing. So for instance, here as you can see, this helmet is in this color in heroic mode. Then if you go in normal mode, it will be in this color. And then for instance, if you go in mythic mode, it will be in this color. And then you also have LFR. So it means that each time for each of these items, you can have 4 different type of color scheme, and each of them are unique. So again, you can really make a lot of gold with all these different items. And then similar to the Tomb of Sargeras, in Antorus, you will also have all these really good BOEs, especially the ones that a lot of people are still making a lot of gold with, include the shoulders right here, that as you can see have an insane sell rate and a really good value, and also a few other of the different BOEs from the raid. But really, this is still something that I would recommend you to do, and you will still be able to make a lot of gold. Also, one important thing to note is that before, these different BOEs were really difficult to get, and so you would have to actually farm the raids a lot before getting any of them. But since I believe it was patch 10.0.7 or one of these different recent patch, these different BOEs are now dropping way more frequently, and so it means that you will get them pretty easily, and then you can sell them on the auction house for, again, a lot of gold. So I would recommend you to do these different farms either on the play character for the Tomb of Sargeras, because you will only be able to receive the BOEs specific to your class. So for instance, if you're playing on a Paladin, you will only be able to get the different plate BOEs and not the other ones. And here, as you can see, the different plate BOEs are the best. You have this one right here, you have the belt right here, and then the boots. But then there are a few more that are good. For instance, leather is pretty good as well for this one. And then you also have cloth. And then for Antorus, I would recommend you to do this farm on a leather class in order to get the Felflame Inferno shoulder pads. And also next to that, you can do it on a cloth character or on a plate character. It will still be good as well. Now, when it comes to how you can farm the different items for the Antorus raid, it's going to be very simple. You just want to enter the raid, again, choose the difficulty that you want, and then you just want to kill all the trash that are before the first boss. Once they're done, you want to exit the raid, reset, and do that again and again. You will at some point have to stop because you won't be able to enter again, but maybe half an hour, 1 hour later, you will be able to start again. And then for the Tomb of Sargeras raid, it's a little bit longer, and I already covered this in another video, so I will share this video in the description. So if you want to do this farm, I would recommend you to go and watch it, because I don't want to go through it again in today's video. I don't want to make this video too long. And you will have the exact route that you can do in any difficulties, and that will reward you with the most BOEs possible. After that, we will have the island expeditions from Battle for Azeroth. So the reason why these different island expeditions are still so good in order to make some gold is simply because through these different expeditions, you will be able to get tons of really good BOEs that you will then be able to sell on the auction house for a lot of gold. And trust me, these are some of the best transmog items that you can actually get in the game and that you can sell on the auction house. Some really good examples include, for instance, this weapon right here, the Plundered Blade of Northern Kings. So as you can see, this one, for instance, sells on average for 30,000 gold and has an average sell rate of 0.136. So it means you will be able to sell it really easily. Same, for instance, here you have this entire set, the Razorfin set, and all these different items are unique. So it means that if someone wants this appearance, they will need to buy them or farm them themselves. And so here, as you can see again, the value on these items is really insane and the sell rate as well. And then you also have, for instance, these ones right here. So from the Elemental Salvage, you have the Firekin set. And here again, all these different items are really popular. For instance, the shoulders are selling on average for 100,000 gold and they have a sell rate of 0.036. And then you also have the Venture Co Salvage. And here you have the Dragon Rider set. And here again, these things are selling really well with a really good sell rate. So here, I would really recommend you to go after these different crates right here. So the Rotting Mire for this set right here. You also have the Jorundal one, as you can see, because inside you have a very good chance at getting some of the Plundered Blade of Northern Kings. And then also the two green ones, the Elemental for the Firekin, and then the Venture Co for the Dragon Rider set. And then I almost forgot, but you also have this weapon right here, the Steamcrot Smasher, that will drop randomly when you are completing some of these different expeditions. And as you can see, this one will sell on average for 200,000 gold and has a sell rate of 0.102, which is really good. So another example of really good weapons and items from the expeditions. So how it works is pretty simple. You just want to come here if you're playing on a whole character or where this guy is located in Boralus for Alliance players. And then you want to talk to the person and ask to do a private expedition in Mythic difficulty. Then when you arrive, you will simply have to kill as many rares and mobs as you can and do all the little activities in the expedition in order to complete your entire bar. And when you're done, usually if you're doing it pretty fast and on a class that can AoE a lot, you will be done in 5 minutes or a little bit less depending on how fast you can go. And basically, when this is done, you will receive already some items. And usually you will receive a few bags. And inside these different bags, you will get these different Seafarer's Doubloon. And these are basically the currency that you can then use in order to purchase some of these different crates from the vendor located just next to the main guy. And so inside these different crates, you can then have even more of these different cool items. So the different crates that are available at the vendor will change every week. And so you really want sometimes to keep all your different Cipher doublons in order to then buy the best ones. And this is, again, really something that you can make a lot of gold with, especially if you have a good character that can AoE a lot. This is something that is not too time consuming and you can make some really good gold with these items. After that, we have all the different mounts from Battle for Azeroth that you are able to get when killing some of the mobs in some of the different zones of BFA. So you have 4 mounts in total. First, if you go in Boralus and in the Drustvar region of Boralus, you will be able to get the Terrified Pack Mule. As you can see, this mount sells on average for 120,000 gold and has a sell rate of 0.184, which is really good. Then next to that, in the Stormsong Valley, you will have Golden Mane. This one is 67,000 gold and 0.400, which again is really nice. Then on Zundalar, you will have in Nazmir this mount right here, the Leaping Vein Seeker. Again, this one sells pretty well and for quite a lot. And finally, in Vol'dun, you will have the Dune Scavenger, 80,000 gold on average and 0.170 of sell rate. So these different mounts are things you can farm either in a group or solo. If you want to do it in a group, what you can do is go in pre-made and here try to type maybe farm, and sometimes you will have some of these different farms up. Or you can also create your own group and just start, for instance, and say, farm Dune Scavenger or the name of the mount, and usually you will have some people that will join you. You can of course also do it solo, so really all you have to do is to go in some of the areas where there are the mobs that can drop these different mounts, and you just want to kill them as much as possible. Keep in mind, of course, all these different mounts are pretty rare, and so it will definitely take you some time before you're actually able to get your hands on these different mounts. So for the Dune Scavenger, what you want to do is come in Dune in this specific area, and you want to kill all the mobs that are around this area and also inside this little cave. And then you will see they will hyper spawn, so you will be able to kill a lot of them. Then after that, in Nazmir, you want to go in this specific area, and here you want to again circle around, kill all the mobs, and then you will see you will be able to kill a lot of them. And when you're in the Stormsong Valley, there are a few areas where you can go. But in order to get Golden Mane, the best farm spot is this one right here. So just make sure to kill all the mobs that are around. Then finally, when it comes to the Terrified Pack Mule in Drusvar, you want to come to this specific spot. And again, you want to kill all the mobs in this spot, so outside and inside this little cave. One important thing to also add is the fact that sometimes you will have a chance of getting some of the overworld BOEs from Battle for Azeroth, and especially some of the weapons are really good. For instance, you have this gun right here, and then as you can see, you will also have all these ones right here. And so all these different weapons can actually sell for a lot, especially this one, the Tibu Scorching Straight Sword. So each time you're doing these different farms, you will have a chance at actually getting all these different BOE weapons as well. After that, we're gonna have something that will take a little bit of time, but trust me, this is a really good gold farm that can reward you with a lot of gold. So this gold farm will take place in the Icecrown Citadel raid from Wrath of the Lich King, and it will be linked to the legendary quest line in order to get Shadowmourne. So basically here you will be able to get this quest line for warriors, paladins, and death knights. And after completing all the different quests that will probably take you between 6 to 8 weeks, you will be able to get this sealed chest. And when returning the sealed chest, you will get all the following items. First, you have this mount right here, the Reigns of the Crimson Death Charger. As you can see, 180,000 gold on average and 0.118 off sell rate. Then you have the Muradin's Favor, one of the toys. Again, pretty good sell rate and pretty good value. Then you have the Tabard of the Lightbringer. This one is 100,000 gold on average and 0.081. And you also have the Sylvanas Music Box Trinket. And finally, the Jaina's Locket. So all these different items can only be obtained when someone completes this quest line. And they are all BOEs, so you can either learn them or sell them on the auction house. Now, I'm not gonna explain exactly all the different steps because it will take way too long, and also there is this person that already made a really good guide on how to solo this entire quest line, and this is something you can go watch because again, this is really well done. But basically what you need to do is when you have one of your characters, so again, you need to be on a warrior, paladin, death knight, and you haven't done this quest line yet, you can go in ICC, the Icecrown Citadel raid, in 25 heroic, and there you will first have to kill a bunch of mobs in order to reach friendly with the reputation from the raid, and after that you will be able to start the quest. So again, in the guide you will see everything is explained. It will take you a little bit of time and they will have a few steps that will be maybe a little bit challenging, but this is something normally you should be able to almost have done before the release of the War Within. And if you can do it, you will then be able to get all these nice rewards that you will then be able to sell for a lot of gold. And of course, if you don't already have Shadowmourne, you will be able to get this really cool axe right here that you can also use as a transmog item and the achievement that goes with it. So if you don't have this weapon, this is also a really good moment to try and get it and make tons of gold in the process. After that, we have another farm that I already mentioned in many of my videos, and this is the new gold farm linked to tier 3 sets that is taking place in the Naxxramass Raid from Wrath of the Lich King. So here the reason why this gold farm is good is because you will be able to get these different Lamented Crusaders items, and these items are BOEs, and basically people are using them in order to then be able to craft tier 3 gear, and to then get the tier 3 appearances from original Naxxramass. So as you can see, all these different items are still selling for a lot of gold and have really good sell rates. And this is something that will still be good and relevant in the War Within, simply because people will still want to get these really cool appearances. So in order to do this farm, you will need to first unlock these different achievements right here, the Memory of Scholomance and Wards of the Dread Citadel, and then you will be able to unlock these vendors like at Skull Smash, as well all the different currencies linked to him. So again, I'm not going to go through all of that here because this is very long. I made an entire guide explaining how exactly you can get all of that unlocked and then start doing this farm. So again, if you are interested, I would recommend you go and watch the guide. But basically, it will take you a little bit of time to first unlock everything. And then this is something you can do once per week on each of your characters. And the key in order to make this gold farm as efficient as possible is to be able to go as fast as possible. So many times I would recommend you to try and do it with a class that can go fast inside of a raid, with also the different food buffs that will increase your speed. And finally, if you can get a speed set, I will also recommend you to try and do that in order, again, to do this gold farm as efficiently as possible. After that, we will have another gold farm from BFA, and this one will be very similar to the other gold farms we already mentioned before that, but this time, instead of farming the mounts, you will be farming this item right here, the Glazer. So the Glazer is a very cool weapon with a very unique appearance, and this is a BOE item and something that you can farm and then sell on the auction house for quite a lot of gold. As you can see, the average value is 261,000 gold, and the sell rate is 0.018, which is not too bad. So here, it's going to be very similar to the other gold farms. What you want to do is come right here in the Stormsong Valley, and then you just want to kill all the different mobs that are around, so really all of them. And this is something you can do either in a group or solo. And when you're killing all these different mobs, you will have a very small chance at getting this weapon. And of course, next to that, you will also have a chance at getting all the other epic BOE weapon and gear from Battle for Azeroth. So all in all, this is a pretty good gold farm. It will definitely take you a little bit more time to sell this weapon compared to the mounts, but this is still a good item to have up on the auction house, especially if you're playing on a hyperpool. And so normally here the best strategy is to be in a group of 5, and then you want to stay in your position, make your macros where you are simply targeting the different mobs around you and then casting your different spells, and then like that you will kill all of them. And as these are epic items, you can basically kill all of them for 19 minutes, and then you can go loot all of them and only the epic blue items will remain. So like that, you don't have to move. But of course, you can also just every 2 or 3 minutes go and loot around. Like that, you will also get a lot of gray items and green items that you can sell for some extra cash. So after that, we have another interesting gold farm that might not be for everyone, but if you like a personal challenge and to make gold in the process, this might be interesting for you to consider. Basically, for this gold farm, all you want to do is to go in Battle for Azeroth and in any of the different areas where there is a coastline. And here you want to fish in the sea. So you don't have to fish in specific school of fish or anything like that. You can just fish in open waters. And at some point, if you are very lucky, you will have a chance at receiving this mount right here, the Great Sea Raid. And this is a BOE mount that you can then sell on the auction house for around 100,000 gold on average. So this is something that can be interesting if you are into fishing and you have some time to kill. You will also receive an achievement when getting the mount, so this is always something that you can add to your list of achievements. But of course, it will take you a long time, and this is something that will definitely probably get on your nerves at some point. I'm just putting it here because this is still a pretty interesting farm and mounts always sell really well. So if you are into that, you can give it a try. Remember, the easiest way to avoid missing the mount is to go in your options, and here you want to click on auto loot, and like that you will directly get all the different items you fish up, because sometimes sadly people misclick and lose the mount when it appears. After that, we have another transmog farm that will take place inside of a raid, and this time it will be a Shadowlands raid, and it will be the Sepulcer of the first ones. So this raid is accessible when you go in Zereth Mortis. So as you can see, when you're in Shadowlands, you will need to go in Oribos, and here you will have one portal that will allow you to go to Zereth Mortis, and then the entrance of the raid will be right there. So this is something that might still be a little bit difficult to do for you if you don't have a lot of high level, but you can easily do it in normal or heroic difficulty. Mythic might just be a little bit of a challenge right now. The reason why we're doing this gold farm is simply because, again, you have some really good BOE items that you can then sell in the auction house, and most of them have unique appearances. So again, if someone wants to get the appearance, they will need to learn it from the BOE item. So here, for instance, some of the best ones include the defined lever items, especially the hood. As you can see, you have this one, for instance, in heroic difficulty, it will look like that, and then in mythical difficulty, it will look like that. But then you have a few more that are also pretty good, including the different plate items and a few of the different mail items. But then the main ones that I would really recommend you to go for includes the different lever items. So here, all you have to do really is to enter the raid, and then you want to kill the first boss, the Vigilant Guardian. And when this is done, you will be able to go and access 2 different areas. And so here, really, all you have to do is to go in these different areas, kill all the mobs that are around. It will take you a little bit of time, but normally right now at this stage of Dragonflight, you should be able to solo them pretty easily. And then when you're done killing all these different mobs, you just want to go back at the entrance, wait for them to reset, because again, you cannot reset automatically because you killed the first boss. And maybe half an hour later, all these mobs will be up again. So then go back, kill all of them again, and then hopefully at some point you will get some of these items. And so remember, if you are trying to get the different lever BOEs, you will need to do it on a lever class. Because if, for instance, you're doing it on a warrior, you won't be able to get anything else than the different plate BOEs. I made an entire guide explaining exactly what you need to do and what are the best ways to make this gold farm as efficient as possible. So again, I would recommend you to maybe consider watching it if you are interested in this farm. So that's pretty much it for today's video. Of course, there's plenty of other ways to make some gold. If, for instance, you like professions, you can craft a bunch of items. If you like raw gold, you can do all the different world quests, farm all raids, and sell the different items you get from the bosses and everything. But these are, in my opinion, 9 of the best gold farms if you want to make some pretty good gold without having to invest a lot by buying and reselling items, or by crafting and then selling items through the crafting order system. This is really something for those of you who enjoy farming things in raids, in open areas, and then selling them on the auction house. So I really hope these different farms will help you to make some gold before the release of the War Within. And of course, don't hesitate to add in the comments other suggestions so people can also see if maybe there are other things they can consider doing in the meanwhile. I will be back very soon with more guides and more videos, and in the meantime, I wish you all a great day. Bye!